It's only day 3 of the US government's federal shutdown, and the right and left are already going crazy. So I thought I'd watch Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt's press briefing today and see if I had any comments from a centrist perspective.
We are now in day 3 of the Democrat-led government shutdown. The Democrats continue to recklessly hold the American people hostage over their demands to give illegal aliens free health care.
So this is like the biggest talking point that I've been hearing for the right when it comes to the federal shutdown, is that the Democrats are trying to give healthcare to illegal aliens. That's just not true. By law, like undocumented migrants, people who are not supposed to be here, are not eligible for health programs. She could be talking about asylum seekers who are here legally, because those did get cut under the big beautiful bill. They were cut from Medicaid, but people who are here in asylum are here legally. So yeah, that's already the first fact check I had to do while watching this.
The 1.3 million men and women of America's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and Space Force who serve honorably and put their lives on the line to defend us all are not being paid.
Yeah, so that's actually kind of the weird thing that most people don't realize, like when it comes to the shutdown, is that for most federal employees, they are furloughed, which means that they're not allowed to work and they're not allowed to get any pay, obviously, until there's budget for that. But when the government reopens again, they're required by law to get their back pay. They have to get all that money that was missed. But the weird exception to that is the military, and I just found this out recently, is that they have to keep working, but they still don't get their pay until the government reopens anyway at the end, which is just kind of a weird, frustrating position to be in. That's gotta like really suck for those jobs where you have to come into work knowing that you might not get your paycheck on time. And it also sucks for the people who don't have to work either, because it's not like they can take a vacation, because they have no idea when the government is gonna reopen again and they'll have to go back to work. So it's not like they can really go anywhere or do anything, because any day the government could just reopen and then now they'd have to just come into work. So weird situation for everyone, especially frustrating. I gotta imagine for military service members and their families.
Military families are already seeking out food assistance because of financial anxiety caused by this Democrat shutdown. According to
I mean, you're going to hear this a lot throughout the video. She's going to be calling it a Democrat shutdown. It's a Republican and Democrat shutdown. Neither one of them could come to agreement on the budget. So it's a Republican and Democrat shutdown. I'm sure the people watching this, most of you lean one way or another, so you're going to like the position on one side or another. But yeah, just for the rest of this video, it's going to kind of bug me that she's going to call it a Democrat shutdown, because it's a Republican and Democrat shutdown.
The economic consequences of this shutdown are piling up every day. Policymakers, markets, and even the Federal Reserve are flying blind at a key juncture because BLS and BEA data are on hold until the government reopens.
Is that really the biggest concern, is that the BLS doesn't have new data? It's kind of weird that they're talking about like the economic consequences of not having the BLS for a few days, just because like the narrative from the Trump administration has been that the BLS has been like apparently giving fake numbers, politically motivated numbers for years that have been making things look one way or another, under the Biden administration. That's why they fired staff from the BLS not that long ago, because apparently it was giving fake numbers. So now it's like if the markets have been operating with according to them, fake numbers for a while, but now that it's down for a few days, like suddenly that's the end of the world, that's kind of a weird thing to bring up, in my opinion.
President Trump and Republicans are calling on Democrats to reopen the government immediately on behalf of the American public.
Yeah, it's really interesting, the way that they're framing this. I mean, the way they have to frame it, of course. But I really am interested in how the public is going to respond, how your average American citizen is going to respond. Typically, people blame the administration in charge for everything that goes wrong. So typically when something bad happens, Red's in power, it's Red's fault. Blue's in charge, it's Blue's fault. And I feel like it's going to be the same way this time. I feel like if someone has a negative experience, they're trying to do this, they can't. Trying to do that, the government's shut down, they can't do it. I think they're going to blame the Republicans, and it is very interesting the way they're doing their absolute best They're doing their absolute best to try to change the public opinion. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to work. But again, we'll see, I guess.
President Trump will end the radical left's reign of terror in Portland once and for all. The president has directed Secretary Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other left-wing domestic terrorists.
I really don't understand why Trump is not more interested in moving resources to cities in more Republican-led states, because there is crime in Republican-led states, and it seems like things could go a lot more smoothly if you had a mayor who is a lot more willing to cooperate. Even if the mayor might be Democrat or not, in a red state, they might be more likely to cooperate. I mean, it is about safety of the streets, but I think it's also really politically motivated, trying to pick a fight with the specific mayors who don't want help with crime. When again, I feel like things could be going much more smoothly if we were starting with more of the cities where the mayors and local governments did want to cooperate. Like that, things would just be going a lot smoothly if we started with those. Again, just from a pragmatic point of view.
Should there be some type of scheduled layoffs to maybe entice
layoffs,
Democrats to come to the table, like every hour another agency, another 100 pink slips? I'm sure Russ Vought has a list of folks ready to go.
Well, look, the Office of Management and Budget, as we've said repeatedly, is working with the agencies and our cabinet secretaries to identify where cuts unfortunately can and have to be made. And again, we understand there's another vote happening on the Senate.
So the thing with the cuts is, so nobody wants lots of people to be losing their jobs, I don't think. But on the other hand, most people want the government to be efficient at doing what it's doing, to not be wasting resources. The thing that's weird about this to me is that if there's a waste of resources in a department, it seems like they should just be cut no matter what. If there's a waste, I don't see why you'd have to wait for a government shutdown to do that, and I don't see why you'd be using like pink slips as like a threat. Yeah, again, it's just weird that she's saying like, oh, we need to make all these cuts to efficiency, we need to do layoffs, it's just necessary. But if the Democrats cooperate with us, then we won't need to do these layoffs. Well, wait, hold on. If you don't need to do the layoffs, like does that just not make any sense? Does that like make any sense to anyone else? Because it doesn't make sense to me. If you need to do the layoffs, do them no matter what the Democrats do. If you don't need to do the layoffs, don't fire people for no reason, because you might just have to hire them back later anyway. Very stupid to me.
Get paid again. We can go back to doing the business of the American people. But if this shutdown continues, as we've said, layoffs are an unfortunate consequence of that.
There haven't been large layoffs in the past. This happens it feels like almost every presidential administration now we get a shutdown. Basically, I don't think there was under Biden. But almost, that happen all the time, and you don't always get layoffs. You usually get furloughs where people, they don't come into work for a while. Then when they do come back, they get all their back pay that they missed. But she's kind of making it sound like it's an unfortunate necessity because of the shutdown, when it's really just politically motivated. Again, if you need to do the layoffs for budget reasons or whatever, you should just be doing them anyway. Not using them as like a chess move. That just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Okay, so after this, there's a lot of reporter questions. I didn't really want to get into that because there were a lot of them and most of them were not that relevant. But yeah, thanks for watching. I would love to hear your thoughts on the shutdown 3 days in, and let me know if you'd like more reactions from an independent perspective. All right, thank you.